Hello guys. So I thought of uploading a playlist for dynamic programming as a practice by myself. This might also help you. So let's get started with the first problem. The first problem is counting bits, and it says that uh, for every n, let a return array answer whose length is of n plus 1, and for each I that belongs to 0 to n, we have to uh, we have to print the number of ones in the binary representation of I, like for n equal to 2. So for the 0, for 0 we have 0 number of set bits, for 1 we have 1 number of set bit, and for 2 we have 1 number of set bit also. And for 5, we have for 0th position we have 0 number of set bits, for first we have 1, for second we have 1, for third we have 2, for fourth we have 1, and for fifth we have 2. Okay, there exists a built-in method that is built-in pop count that will return the number of set bits, but it says to do it without. It says can we try it without the built-in function, and the second is can we do it in linear. Okay, we have to do it in linear time. Like I can think of some dynamic programming solutions, but before that let's think about the recursive ones. Sorry for the poor writing style, I use a mouse. Okay then. Hmm. So let's get to the recursive one. How to count the number of set bits if we are given n. Like let us assume an integer, a function that is returning the integer and that returns count. Means the function name is count and we take in parameter as n. So what we can do is if n double equal to 0, then we simply return 0. That for 0 we don't have any z bits, and like if we can say that if a binary number, like if n is odd, then this n%1 returns that like we do take some number and do it end of 1. If the number is odd, this will return true, and if the number is even, this will return false. If n and 1, then like I am counting the last bit. I take the number n in the binary representation and check the last bit. If the last bit is set bit, then I return 1 plus that function name of n by 2. Here n by 2 means I am like, if we know the basics of binary numbers, then we can say that by doing by 2 we generally do 2 and right shift 1, and that removes the last bit. And okay, if then we do n by 2, and if it's even, then we simply return that function passing the parameter n by 2. Okay, this would be the recursive approach, and changing into the top-down approach. Like in DP we have two approaches, I think, that is memoization and top-down. I prefer first memoization. Like with my method I do memoization first and then top-down, but here I think we can directly go with the top-down approach, and that would be like the top-down approach here, as I thought would be, I would take a dynamic, means array whose name is dip, and with the size of n plus 1, as I have to also return n plus 1. Here it is said now we have to return an array of length of n plus 1, and then for 0th position I got the answer as 0. What should I do for the first position? As I said, I can go through the recursive code that I got, and the recursive code said that if the specific number is odd, then I have to return 1 plus now that function with the value of the number divided by 2, else I have to pass the else I have to only give the number. I have to pass the number with pi2 as its parameter. So let's write the code first, and I will make you understand how we solve the recursion and put it into a dynamic programming approach or a top-down approach. So first I create a vector integer with a size of n plus 1. Then I initialize the 0th one with 0. That means it is actually the base case here, that the 0th, when n equals to 0 we return simply 0. And for every next integer, then what I do is I said if I and of 1, if the value is odd, then what I do is dp of I equals to 1 plus dp of I by 2, as dp of I equals to dp of I by 2. What I am doing is I am checking, okay, if the previous one exists, like for 7, why this one would be effective if for 7, let's say for 7. But we all have all the values from 0 to 6, so we can use that one and check, okay, if for 7 what I have to do, first I have to do 1 plus dp of I by 2, that will be 3 dp of 3, and now dp of 3 already exists here, so I can get the value directly. And after doing this, what I can do is I can return the dynamic programming error. Let's run the code. Okay, let's code accepted, and it's submitted also. So that is the approach for this problem. If thank you all for staying here. We'll see you in the next tutorial.